When I installed a wheelchair ramp for my disabled son, my neighbor and the HOA fined me $500 a week, claiming it ruined the aesthetic. My cousin, who sat on the board, voted against me. I took them to federal court under the ADA. I won so fast and so hard that the HOA was dissolved completely, and the look on my cousin's face when she realized she was personally liable for damages was worth every ounce of pain. My name's Rob. I live in a small neighborhood just outside of Raleigh, North Carolina. I'm a single dad to my son, Ethan, who is 9. 2 years ago, a drunk driver hit our car. I walked away with some bruises. Ethan wasn't so lucky. He lost the ability to walk. The past 2 years have been hard. Hospital stays. Rehab. Doctors. Tears. A lot of them. The worst part? Coming home. Our house has 4 big concrete steps leading up to the front door. Every time I had to carry my son in or out, my back screamed. I worried constantly about slipping and dropping him. It wasn't just hard. It was dangerous. So, I decided to build a ramp. I followed the rules, or so I thought. I hired a licensed contractor. We designed an aluminum ramp that looked clean and safe. I even emailed the Briarwood HOA board the blueprints. I waited. And waited. Nothing. After weeks of silence, I told the contractor to go ahead. The first day Ethan used that ramp, I cried. He rolled down it on his own, laughing for the first time in months. That ramp gave him his independence back. I thought we were finally catching a break. Then the letter came. Violation of HOA guidelines. Structure installed without approval. $500 fine per week until removal. I stared at it for 5 minutes before I could speak. My hands shook. I called the HOA. I explained everything. The woman on the other end didn't care. Her exact words were, "It ruins the aesthetic of the neighborhood." The worst part? My cousin, Lisa, was on the HOA board. We were close. She held my son when he was born. I called her, thinking she'd help. Her response? Rob, it's not personal. Rules are rules. We voted. You have to take it down. I hung up without saying another word. That night I stared at the ramp from the front window and decided, no. I wasn't taking it down. I called an attorney the next day. His name was Marcus. Older guy, sharp as a tack. When I told him everything, he shook his head and smiled. They just messed with the wrong dad. Marcus explained that under the Americans with Disabilities Act, ADA, and the Fair Housing Act, HOAs are legally required to allow reasonable accommodations for people with disabilities. A wheelchair ramp is about as reasonable as it gets. We sent a demand letter to the HOA. They ignored it. They kept sending me fines. I kept every single notice in a folder. My fines hit $4,500 before we filed the federal lawsuit. It moved fast. The evidence was overwhelming. I had emails. I had the blueprints. I had my son's medical records. The HOA had nothing. The HOA lawyer tried to argue that the ramp destroyed the uniform look of the houses. The judge interrupted him. Sir, this is a federal civil rights issue. You're fining a disabled child's father for installing a ramp so his son can enter his own home safely? The lawyer stammered. The judge was done. Case ruled in favor of the plaintiff. The HOA had to refund all fines, pay $15,000 in damages, cover my legal fees, dissolve permanently due to repeated violations of civil rights. The day after the verdict, Lisa showed up at my door. Her face was drained of all color. Her voice trembled. Rob, I didn't know this would happen. I thought we were just following protocol. Please don't let them make me personally liable for damages. I stared at her for a long time. I wanted to say I forgave her. I wanted to say something kind. But I couldn't. I shut the door without a word. I later found out she was indeed on the hook personally for a portion of the damages since she had voted knowingly against a legal accommodation. The HOA? Gone. Just gone. People panicked at first, thinking the neighborhood would fall apart. It didn't. We mow our lawns. We paint our fences. We actually talk to each other now. Ethan still uses that ramp every day. It stands strong. So does my son. I thought it was over. The HOA was gone. The fines were gone. Ethan was safe. I could finally breathe. I was wrong. 2 weeks after the court ruling, I came home from work to find Ethan crying on the porch. The ramp was covered in black spray paint. Big, ugly words: eyesore and selfish. I froze. My stomach dropped. My son's safe space had been vandalized. I called the police. They came, took photos, and filed a report. But no cameras. No witnesses. No arrests. Lisa didn't return my calls. The next day, I got an anonymous letter. No return address. No signature. You think you won? You ruined our neighborhood. You're not welcome here anymore. Take the ramp and your cripple somewhere else. I stared at the words until they blurred. I sat down hard at the kitchen table. My hands shook. I felt rage boil inside me like I've never felt before. I called Marcus. We're not done yet, he said. We went back to court to report harassment and retaliation, another violation of the Fair Housing Act. A federal judge ordered an injunction. Any further harassment equals automatic federal charges. But the damage was done. The neighborhood split in half. One side supported me. Neighbors I barely knew brought flowers, cleaned the ramp, and apologized for the monsters living among us. A retired couple, Hank and Doris, power washed the graffiti off the ramp at 6 a.m. without me even asking. The other side? Cold stares. Whispers when I walked by. Trash left in my yard. Dog feces on my driveway. One woman loudly told another at the mailbox. That's what happens when you mess with the HOA. I had never felt so hated in my life. Ethan felt it too. Dad, why don't they like me? He asked one night, tears in his eyes. I hugged him hard. They're wrong. Then came the worst blow of all. Lisa showed up at my house. I opened the door. She stood there, looking exhausted, eyes red. They're blaming me now. They say I cost them their HOA. They're threatening me. I can't go to the grocery store without someone spitting at my car. Please, Rob. Can we fix this? I stared at her. My cousin. My former friend. My betrayer. Fix what? You voted to find me. You voted to punish my son. Now you want help? She sobbed. I was stupid. I was scared. They pressured me. I didn't think you'd actually win. Please. I said nothing. I closed the door. I tried to move on. I really did. But the ugliness kept creeping back. I stayed quiet. I didn't post online. I avoided neighborhood meetings. I just wanted peace for my son. One cold December morning, I woke up to sirens. My ramp was on fire. Neighbors stood outside, covering their mouths as flames shot up from the wood platform. Someone had poured gasoline and lit it. The siding of my house was scorched, but the fire department got there in time. The ramp was destroyed. Ethan sobbed when he saw the wreckage. I couldn't hold back anymore. I called Marcus. We had security cameras installed after the graffiti, and they caught everything. The arsonist? None other than Jim Frazier, the former HOA president. The man who led the charge against me from day one. He had been drinking that night. He staggered into the frame, carrying the canister. Clear as day. We pressed charges. Federal charges. Arson. Hate crime enhancement, under ADA protections. Jim was arrested at home 2 days later. His mugshot was plastered all over the local news. The fallout was instant. Jim's employer fired him. His family left town. He lost everything. The same people who once whispered behind my back now whispered about him. The neighborhood fell apart after that. Those who hated me went silent or sold their houses and left. The people who stayed rallied around me. My neighbors helped rebuild the ramp. This time, it was steel, not wood. Stronger. Safer. Permanent. The city granted me special permission to fortify it. They even installed a small camera on a nearby streetlight. My son would never be hurt again. Lisa moved out too. She left me one last voicemail. I'm sorry, Rob. I lost everything. I never meant for this to happen. I hope you and Ethan find peace. I never called her back. Today, Ethan's ramp still stands. No one dares touch it. The message was clear: I fought and I won. It wasn't just about a ramp. It was about dignity. About telling people you don't get to decide who belongs and who doesn't. I won't lie. I lost sleep. I lost trust. But I never lost my son. That ramp gave him freedom. It gave me purpose. I don't wave at many neighbors anymore. But the ones who do wave, they mean it. Ethan rolls down that ramp every day with a smile on his face. That's all I ever wanted. Justice wasn't just served. It was burned into the ground.